My personal take is lands are pretty terrible. It's not exciting. It is a overcomplicated staking mechanism. But yeah, so for the first thing, it's overcomplicated. If you want to get into lands, there are 30 different types of resources. You need time crystals, grains, dark energy, cards, land plots, and you need to basically read like 4 card journals worth of material to like even understand it. Straight into it, lands are just it's a drain. Lands just feel like a drain. So like I said, you get into it, you've got your land. So as a normal player, you buy a piece of land, you've got your land. Then what you need to do is you need to buy time crystals. So you go buy your time crystals to speed up your land. If not, these are 2 max workers, it is going to take us like 1 billion years to finish. But you can build it instantly if you have time crystals. So you kind of need time crystals. If not, you're not going to wait this long to play the game. The second thing is you also need power. And you need power to basically power up your land. And with that, you basically need to buy a power core. So before you can even use the land you buy, you have to buy a power core. Then you need to also stake DEC. You stake your DEC basically for your workers. So if we click manage, you can see that the energy required is 20,000 DEC per worker. We can add workers, and you could put in like a normal worker, and obviously it depends on the set. So alphas times 10, betas times 5, gold foils are also bigger, legendary, like the rarities, like all of these things play a factor in. And then also based on your land type, certain element types basically give advantages on your land. And it's like, wow, look, this fire gives negative 10%, but others give net plus 5%. So you think it's like, oh, it's all cool and exciting, but it's not really. It's just a more complicated form of staking. And yeah, like I said, it feels like a drain. Like, I have to stake 20,000 DEC onto my lands to buy cards, and then I've got to find out which card's best suited, and then it's alpha, beta, whatever, and that kind of just feels like it benefits the older players. So yeah, it's overcomplicated. It does feel like a drain. I automatically, just off the top of my head, the number 3 point is DEC is the peg. I don't understand why DEC needs to be pegged. Even if you look right now, DEC is not pegged. It's not 1 DEC is $1. I think it's like 0.93. When I started playing this game, before SPS was even a resource or even a token, it like DEC was always at like 0.9 to 0.7. It was always trading below peg. Once again, if you want DEC to be pegged, then why do you have credits? It doesn't really make sense. And then also, if you're going to have this type of mentality where it's like the players and the community's job to peg resources for you, like in a few months' time, are we going to see grain pegged? Like, okay, if you actually do get into lands, this is going to be something this is going to be the hot tip of the video. And that is, if you go in-game and it goes, oh, you need 1 DEC for 1 grain. Like that's their exchange rate. They don't give you a better exchange rate. It's 1-to-1 in the game. They've pegged it. So if you're a new player and you buy this thing, they've already pegged it for you like this. But this is where they kind of fist you. If you want to play this and you need to, in their mind, the way it works is, oh, you just bought a piece of land. You buy an active core. You buy cards to be your workers. While you clear this, you buy time crystals to clear this, to build your house, to build a grain farm, a shard, or a research hut. You buy your time crystals to speed up that process. What they do is they go, hey, you need to feed your workers to clear your work sites, to build your work site. So before you can even start building a resource or earning on it, you need to essentially feed your workers, which means you've got to buy grain. If you don't have grain, they basically are like, wow, we can sell you grain, but the grain that they sell you is 1-to-1. If you're a new player, that's ass. It's the worst thing you can do. You should go into the Discord and trade with other players. And I've been watching. It's gone from like 0.6 DEC for 1 grain all the way down to like 0.3 now. So it's nearly 3 times the difference if you go on the Discord. And yeah, not ideal, not welcoming. Like I said, it's I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The reason I left Splinterlands in like early 2023, end of 2022, obviously the bear market like hurt me and it wasn't ideal, but it just felt like a drain. Like it was like, as the community, obviously we were huddled together, we were working hard to like survive, keep our resources together, survive the bear market, and then Splinterlands are like, hey guys, like we're gonna sell some nodes to you, and then you gotta buy vouchers to buy Chaos Legions, and then you gotta buy Waka Flocka, and then you've gotta buy what was the next one, the actual DEC sync to keep it pegged. Well, we're meant to be buying gems and Rift watches with our DEC, but how about this ETH NFT thing, which is meant to be unique and like a profile picture worthy art, but it all looked terrible. There's going to be these Roonies. And then after that, it's like, oh, well, here's a soccer game, and here's nightmare packs. And it just was like one thing after another. It was just too much. It didn't feel very good. I guess my third point is it's just not welcoming to new players. So when I've spoken to people, and obviously the whole point and the best part about Splinterlands is the community. Like, I love the Splinterlands community. They are some of the nicest people in cryptocurrencies. And this is how you know, like, they're the nicest people in crypto. The fact that I'm prepared to trust a middleman in a crypto P2P game, and there are so many trustworthy middlemen and middlewomen that I've met and used in my life. Like, you know who you are. If I've ever used you as a middleman, it means I trust you with my money. And you, I've never met you in real life. I don't know your real name. And I have used them for thousands of dollars. So, yeah. I have nothing but love and respect. When you join this game, most people delegate you new cards. They're so welcoming to new players. And the fact that even the like oldest players are struggling to teach the new players and welcome them in, it's just terrible. So my next point is obviously just it's not welcoming to new players. You get shouted at if you ask questions about land, and it's like, it's late game content, it's not designed for the average player. But it's like, if you think about it, like, why is it not? You kind of want new players to be able to just use lands. It shouldn't be that big of a thing. I can't see a world where you wouldn't want new players to go to the marketplace, go look at lands and go, oh. Like, also, this is kind of crazy how they've broken the lands into the different regions, and like you've got to find everything. It's like it's not very friendly. Like, obviously, if you want to do it properly, the better way to do it would just be, I guess, you got big monsters. You got to use a third-party site. But let's just quickly see what the price is right now. It changes every day. Yeah, $30. Oh my god. So, like, you want new players to afford. You want new players to buy your stuff. Like, that's the whole point. Is they buy their stuff, it goes up in value. There's a demand for it. If not, it's just going to be the same like 6 whales trading like land and grains amongst themselves, and it's not good. I don't like that. And just at the moment, it's just not new player friendly. Like, I can show you other crypto games. I'll show you guys the heist after this, but I need you guys to see. So this is what I wish Splinterlands was like. It is a Solana-based game called The Heist. It is a game where if you go to the city, it's a time-based game. You can send your chimps or your monkeys or your orangutans to go do heists and commit crimes in order to earn cocoa. If you own a gorilla, that's the police. But I'm not here to explain the game. I just need you guys to see how simple and how they've done their land compared to Splinterlands. So they've divided their land into different regions, very similar to Splinterlands.
where you've got different territories and different environments. So different names: Paperhand Plains, Flashbang Falls, Bozo Basin, the Treetops, Havana Heights, and Silverback Summit, and Primate Peaks. And we have one piece of land. So if we go in, you can see that they've got 3 different land types. You've got the largest, which is just a garrison. Well, I think they've all got different names based on the region. But then you have a medium-sized settlement, and then you've got a small plot, or I think these can be broken down even more. So the small ones can each be broken down into 10, and that's just kind of the landscape. If you look at my plot, you can see it's currently harvesting, and the way it's been harvesting for 4 days now, and every 15 minutes basically there is a, I think, like 8% chance that I get some fruit. And that's all it is to it. You simply just stake your NFT, you click get fruit or start harvesting, and every 15 minutes there's a total amount of tokens and fruit that gets distributed to the entire ecosystem, and your plot generates your fruit.
Like for $31, cool. A new player like buys their first piece of land. How exciting. They buy a common piece of land, but then they're told, oh, I now need to buy time crystals. Peg $50 worth of DEC. I'm going to buy cards to use on this thing. And, you know, if they really want to maximize it, it's got to be gold foils, it's got to be alpha, it's got to be ruinies. It's like, and then, yeah, once again, the price of grain. Who knows, in the future they might have to find a way to peg grain because players are so upset. I saw like Agroid or Aggie, however you want to call him. He was like, oh, well, don't worry about it. It's like if grain becomes way too cheap, then everyone's going to just change their lands to build research huts and then start earning research points. But then it's like when grain becomes in demand, they then have to then switch from research points back to grain. And it's just going to be a bunch of just mismanagement and complications, and it's not fun. And that's my point, is that, like, I've waited 2 years, and it's sad to say, but the game isn't fun. It's staking, but it's not even fun staking. It's like there are other games that you buy resources and stake resources, and you got, you know, RNG and elements and gambling or whatever it is. It's just there's elements of chance and there's things that get you excited to do it. This just feels like, oh, it's another Splinterlands drain. It's not fun. It's not welcoming to new players. Yeah, that's just my opinion. And I want to hear your guys' opinion. Like, let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? What would you do to fix it? Yeah, any suggestions down below, or just let me know how you feel. Like, maybe I'm being way too critical or way too harsh.